We're about to witness history in the making with never-before-seen footage of Reading and Northern's 2102 T1 steam locomotive en route to Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania. If you'd like to learn more and to witness this in action, just stick around and come along with me. If you are still watching, glad to have you here. I do want to take a few moments to, well, first off, swat the bugs away. They're out in full force. It's a really humid day here in June. But I want to give you just a brief rundown of what my plans are for filming today and the plan for the excursion route. So this is the second of 3 Iron Horse Rambles taking place in 2024, but this one is new and different from any other one in the past. That's because of the route and where it's departing from. So it departed this morning 9 a.m. from Nesquehoning Station. You may not be familiar with that. That's a brand new station that was constructed specifically for this run and for future runs going forth. They constructed it at a new facility there and were able to board passengers and embark on this excursion. From there, it's going to be heading to Penobscot, which is Mountaintop, Pennsylvania, to not only fuel up with water, but to have 2 diesel locomotives pair up with the train, which is going to help for braking coming down the mountain. From there, it's going to proceed to the Pittston yard, which is just a few miles in that direction. There, it's going to make a brief stop. The diesel locomotives will depart from the train, and 2102 will continue in this direction on these tracks coming from that direction. This is where history is going to be in the making with never-before-seen footage, because from my knowledge, my understanding, 2102 has never come down this line before to Tunkhannock and has never pulled passengers there either. So that's something brand new that we're going to be witnessing today. But from there, it's going to proceed to Tunkhannock. Once it does arrive there, it's going to be there for a few hours. The crew is going to then detach the locomotive from the consistent train cars, go on a siding, and recouple up to the back of the train, because when it departs from Tunkhannock later today, it's going to be pulling this direction, tender first, going backwards. It's then going to make a stop at the Pittston yard, where I will be later today, and from there it's going to detach from the train and turn around on the Y. The Y is a triangular set of tracks that allows the locomotive to turn around without the use or need of a turntable. They'll then couple back up to the train and pull nose first the way back to Nesquehoning. So we'll be able to witness that turnaround at the Pittston yard, and then going to head to a cemetery nearby to get the train coming through a tree line, past the cemetery, and if luck's on my side, we're going to get to one other spot quickly and safely to hopefully capture it one more time. But this today for me is brand new. I'd never filmed trains here before. I'd never rail fanned in this area. I'm not alone though, there are dozens of other people. And this is also a backup location for me because I was going to be along Coxton Road, where the road does parallel the tracks, but police were there chasing people away, didn't want them parking there, creating a traffic or a safety hazard, which is completely understandable. So this is plan B. I think it's going to work out quite well. We got a nice location here, and I do have 3 cameras. I have my Panasonic shooting down the line as a zoomed in shot. You guys will be handheld with me. We'll be able to get some footage as it passes by, and my action camera over here is going to be getting a nice wide shot as it passes by as well. So it's going to be broken up into different pieces throughout the day, but for you guys, it'll be one enjoyable video. So all I can ask you to do is to sit back, relax, and enjoy the footage of Reading and Northern's T1 2102, making history as we speak with never-before-seen footage on the June 2024 Iron Horse Ramble. Fast forward a few hours later and we're here at the Pittston yard, also known as the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton Regional Train Station. 2102 has departed from Tunkhannock. It did switch around to the other end, so it's pulling backwards, tender first, and it's going to be approaching from this direction at the rear of the train yard, and it's going to detach somewhere from the train cars and go on the Y, which is the WYE, the triangular set of tracks to turn the locomotive around without having to use a turntable because there's no turntable here. From then, it will couple back up to the train and head off in that direction. And when it's getting ready to depart, I'll be leaving as well to head to the cemetery just about a mile down the road. We're gonna get it coming through the tree line and passing by the cemetery. But since we're here and there's others here, let's take a quick walk around and show you what it's like. Now this is the same yard that I was at April of last year to do the very first inaugural Pittston to Jim Thorpe train ride. And this property here has come a long ways. They've really rejuvenated the area, make it look pristine, brand new loading platform. But it's also a great place to come and rail fan if you want to as well. There's always numerous diesel locomotives stationed here that do get put into use at various times. And there's always action going on almost anytime you come, whether it's morning, afternoon, late evening. NRFF, which is the North Reading Fast Freight, also comes here as well. And they also do pass by and go through towards Jim Thorpe, so you could get a lot of freight train action here as well. This line right here, right in front of us, does go towards the Taylor yard at Norfolk Southern. And then the weekend train usually parks here, which we do see number 2011 hooked up to 3 different cars right now. But they really made this property so much better than it used to be. It was kind of an eyesore. Mr. Mueller, the CEO of Reading Northern, really sunk a lot of money into this, and he had a vision and it came to fruition. And they even have old style post lights. They have the wigwags, which we hopefully will see in action, which I have seen once before, but I don't know of any other railroad that actually still has those in use. But it just is a great place to come, especially for a day like today, to witness a T1 locomotive passing through here, and a sight that many of these homes don't often see. They see diesel action daily, but not often you see a T1 steam locomotive. Just a correction, that is not the Pittston to Jim Thorpe train, although it does get parked next to that one. That is what is known as the OCS. That is basically Mr. Andy Mueller's private train to take him wherever he wishes to on his private railroad, as I like to call it, the big boys' toys. And while I was here, I met up with a few familiar faces who not only recognize me from my videos, but others I've seen before and kind of become friends with over the time from seeing them at different locations, from rail fanning and other events. But great to see you guys. Hope you guys enjoy the chase of 2102 yourselves. Taking some shade onto the platform here. It's a hot, humid one, if I haven't said already. And that locomotive, number 5019, the windshield wiper is on. It's going back and forth. So the question I have that I can't answer at this moment, I also asked a couple others, they're not sure either, is which line that 2102 is going to arrive on. Now this morning, I should say earlier today, it did travel on this line, the same one these diesels are parked on, where we caught it at our location. And it should be coming back on this line as well, because this is the line that will take it back to Nesquehoning. But since these diesels are parked here, I don't know what the plan is. Now there is another 1 or 2 lines over there, and it may arrive on one of those. There's a number of switches because the main yard is back there, so it can use any number of lines to approach the station here. So we won't find out really what it's going to do, where it's going to be, until it actually happens. But once it does, we're going to catch it in action, detaching from the train, moving around the Y, coupling back up, and getting ready to depart once again. If I haven't said it already, there is a good number of people here today. There's at least over 50, probably closer to 100 people here coming to see the T1. It just goes to show that steam locomotives may be a thing of the past, but they are still ever popular today. People love to come view them, ride behind them, and those of you who can't see them in person, well, you get to enjoy them through videos like ours. So I was talking to my friend Breezy right there. He's actually an engineer for Reading Northern. He's actually doing some photography here on his day off. And he did confirm a few things, which was great to run into him. So these 2 diesel locomotives were the ones that were on front of 2102 on the way down here this morning to help with braking down the mountain from Penobscot Mountain to the Pittston yard. Supposedly these are going to be gone shortly. They're not going to be here when 2102 does arrive. He did tell me that 2102 will be arriving down there on that particular line but they're going to park down there, leave the coaches down there, so the guests and the coaches will be left down there in the yard. 2102 will then detach and come up the line right here. Not the one going off into the woods, the one on the clearing going around the bend. It's going to go around there and then go across by the OCS and then back down that one and back all the way up, attach to it, and then get ready to depart. So the question I had earlier, we now have confirmation. So Breezy, appreciate the information. We got a crowd of people here for her arrival. She is down there, tender first, approaching our location. It looks like they're stopping. They're going to detach from the consistent coach cars and probably switch lines and come up on our left-hand side. Hey, it's the man of the hour. I heard you're asking about me.
Hey, how you doing?
It's JP, how's it going? All right, we're at our next location at the cemetery. Just heard two whistles, so 2102 is departing the Pittston station, and up here on the hill, hoping to get a zoomed in shot coming through the tree line, and then you guys will have this view here from halfway up the cemetery. She's chugging, she's on the approach. Crossing signals should activate any moment. I'm literally running. Made it to the my final spot. It's on its way here. I can hear it. And I'm not the only one. Listen to that. I'm pouring sweat. I literally ran up here to catch that. Had about 30 seconds to spare. Get my other camera. Let me get down to some air conditioning and share my final thoughts with you. You hear that? It's climbing the mountain. I could hear it. It's already gone by 10 minutes. I can still hear it. She's working hard. First things first, I am a sweaty, disgusting mess. I do apologize for my appearance. Today-wise, weather-wise, it's just not been great. Earlier today, where we started filming, I was surrounded by swarms of bugs. And it was pretty humid, but I was in the shade. It wasn't too bad. After filming those earlier clips, and before returning for the late afternoon, early evening action, some thunderstorms came through, dumped down a lot of rain in a short amount of time, and really raised the humidity. I mean, it is so sticky out right now. You can't do nothing but to just stand here and sweat. I feel like a sponge just soaking in the humidity. So with that being said, at least it's not raining now. At least it's not windy. It is suitable conditions for filming and rail fanning today. Right now, I'm off of Westminster Road, which is right behind me there. And that was the final location we went to. And I raced there safely, but I raced there and ran there on my own 2 feet to get up to that spot to catch it. I was only about 30 seconds, shy of missing it. But I do want to briefly recap things because today was history in the making. We got to see some never before seen train action on a section of line that's never seen a T1 locomotive operating on it. So that was just a monumental occasion. I'm glad I was able to witness it. Now, typically in the past, I like to chase trains. I've chased 2102, 425. I've also chased 611 in Strasbourg, York 17, I do like to chase trains going from location to location, chasing, pacing it. But today I opted not to do that. Although I am familiar with the route, I knew that this was an occasion that's going to bring out lots of people because it's not a run that typically has ever happened before where a T1 came to these areas. So hordes and droves of people came out as anticipated, and chasing would have been nearly impossible because traffic, parking, getting people shots, people getting in your shots, it wouldn't have made for a fun occasion. You know, when I film these trains, I do it for my enjoyment. But if it gets to a point where it's not enjoyable, I don't want to do it anymore. So I made it very clear in my mind that I was only going to do certain locations, and that's what I did. My initial location on Coxton Road would have been great. It's a nice long straightaway. The road parallels the tracks, would have been able to get some action, maybe even pace it if I wanted to. But the problem with that, there's only 2, maybe 3 parking spots in total along the whole road. Although I was parked in one of those spots, the police didn't want it because if one car parks, multiple cars are going to try and park. It would have turned into a headache or a safety hazard. So understandably, I had to move. Wasn't a big deal. I went to a Plan B location a few miles down the road in Newton Ransom. And when I first arrived there, it was only one of a handful of people. By the time the train came, there was at least 50 people there. Once that happened, I was able to go home, dump the footage and the files, start editing, getting some screen captures, and had a lot of time before I had to return to get the secondary footage. Now, the great thing also is that my friends Jamie and RJ were on the train riding as passengers. They were keeping tabs with me throughout the day on their location, so that I knew, I wasn't going to miss it. Although Reading and Northern did a great job putting out a schedule, schedules do change unexpectedly, and they actually arrived ahead of schedule on the way out to Tunkhannock, and I think they arrived maybe a few minutes late on the way back into the Pittston station. So them helped me, was a great deal. I did get to see RJ sticking his head out the window, pointing to get off my tracks. Jamie I didn't see, but hopefully you guys both enjoyed your train ride. I know it's probably a warm one on the train, but still a historic occasion. Upon returning though, came back to Pittston station, got to see Mr. Andy Mueller, the man himself, President and CEO of Reading and Northern. Got to shake his hand, say hello to him once again. And from there, we all saw the arrival of 2102 coming tender first, go around the Y, and then head back to couple up to the cars that were left down in the yard. At that point, I headed out of there, got to the cemetery, which was packed. There was probably at least 20, 25 cars there. I got a decent location, not an ideal location that was already taken, but I got a decent location of it coming through the tree line, and then just a wider shot passing by the cemetery. And my fingers were crossed I was going to be able to make it to this last location on Westminster Road, just outside of Wilkes-Barre. I went as quickly and safely as I could, tried not to get behind any slow drivers or get any red lights. I took the quickest route possible. When I parked along the road, I heard it chugging on its way up. I'm like, oh crap. So I ran up the hill. How hot and sticky it is. I just started dumping buckets of sweat. I was a little bit out of breath from running so hard up a steep hill, and had about 30 seconds to spare to put my Osmo action camera down close to the ground, and you guys were handheld, and we got one final location. And there was at least 10 cars there. I wasn't the only one there. But I do know some people I talked to today are chasing it all day from Nesquehoning to Tunkhannock, back to Nesquehoning. If you guys are doing that, I give you credit. I wouldn't want to do it on a day like today. Normal train runs, not a big deal. Runs like today where they don't happen or never happened before, you're dealing with a lot of chaos. Hordes and droves of people came out to see this in action. I'm glad I was one of them. And the great thing is, if you weren't able to make it out today and you enjoyed my or the others' videos, it is running one more time in August from Nesquehoning once again to Pittston. It's going to stop at Pittston. Passengers will onboard, and they're going to get, I believe, shuttled to the Pittston Tomato Festival in downtown Pittston. They're going to have food and amusement rides and all types of stuff going on. But the date will be on the screen, as well as the website down below if you do want to get more information for tickets or anything else. But if you did make it to this point, I'm sorry for rambling, but I did want to get everything out there, share my final thoughts. And doing this by myself, it's not always easy, but I made it work. Got a few great shots. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the photo montage as well. And lastly, if you do want to see more train-related videos and train chases, make sure you check that playlist down below. Otherwise, thanks so much for hanging out with me. As always, I'll see you in the next video. It's time for me to get a shower.